are some of the most amazing tacos you'll ever have. Today we're making tacos de alambre. Alambre basically means skewer. Back in the old days, this dish used to be cooked on skewers. Now we're gonna fast forward to modern time. Restaurants gotta figure out how to get a lot of it cooked out really quick. So in that case, restaurants improvise with griddles. We're gonna prep the veggies, we're gonna prep the meat, we're gonna make tortillas, get the Rectech 380 fired up with the griddle. Vámonos! Let's get started with the bell peppers. Now, traditionally you can use 1, 2, or 3. Green bell peppers are kind of iconic, but I love the sweetness that the red and the yellow bring. Plus the color makes the dish so much more attractive. Me personally, I like to cut them into little strips. They cook a little quicker. Then I'm gonna turn them sideways and cut them in half. If the strips are too long, you can cut them 2 more times across. So I'm gonna cut it a couple of times. That should do it right there. I had this when I was just out of high school and was working at a motorcycle shop here in town. We would order this dish and it was called a sombrero, but it's actually called, the real name originally is actually an alambre. It doesn't take a lot of onion, but if you like onion a lot, you can use a lot. Now this dish, I forgot to mention, also calls for melting cheese. Today we're using Oaxaca cheese. You can use any melting cheese you like. Probably not gonna use it all, but I'm gonna grate most of it just to be on the safe side. You can make this dish with pretty much anything, but the way I've always known it here is always pretty much been beef, chorizo, and bacon. So those are the 3 meats that I'm gonna use today. We're gonna use half of this chorizo, which is about maybe 8 ounces or so. I have 6 strips of thin cut bacon. But before we get started with that, I'm gonna take this sirloin here and clean it up a little bit. So I wanna get rid of a lot of this fat here, set it aside. I mainly wanna focus on the meat. This meat is nicely marbled, so I'm not too worried about getting that extra fat. Bacon has a little bit of fat too, so we don't want too much fat. But I mean, you know, if you like a lot of fat, go for it. This is 1 1/4 pounds of sirloin, by the way. So I'm gonna cut these into strips, about 3/4 of an inch to an inch wide. Then I'm gonna cut it the other way, about 3/4 to an inch wide. All right, friends, so there we have it. This is about 1 1/4 pounds of beefsteak. In this case today, beefsteak is sirloin. I'm gonna take half of this chorizo here and put the other half away. I'm going to take the casing off or get it opened up and ready to go. Now the bacon comes like this, and I'll start slicing way up here, all the way down. Now all we gotta do is come back across. We're just about getting ready to get fired up. We're gonna make a few delicious homemade corn tortillas. And basically you wanna make a little ball. You wanna take one of these little tortillas, one at a time. You wanna put it right smack dab in the middle there. Cover it with the other plastic, pull this over this way, and give it a nice little press. A lot of your pros will do a 180 flippity flip, turny turn, come back the other way. That makes it nice and even. Growing up, both of my abuelas used to make tortillas, but the one I remember the most is my abuelita Leandra. She was my dad's mother, and I was about this tall, or maybe shorter, because I remember the stove was right above my eye level. So man, she'd have a stack of fresh corn tortillas like that, and we'd go to town with butter, a little shake of salt, roll it up, take a big old bite, do it again, and I'd probably eat 10 tortillas, and I was just a little bitty wee one. Well, I'm still kind of little bitty, but not that little bitty yet. Let's go ahead and get these into the tortilla warmer. You guys know I have like 1,000 salsas on my channel. This dish packs so much flavor from the 3 meats, plus the veggies and the onion. So you don't need like a super wild salsa. Something simple complements it really well. Now this you could call a salsa tatemada. Tatemada basically means it's blistered, it's roasted, toasted, charred. In this case, that's what we're doing right here. We're toasting it on the comal, in this case, the griddle. So we're gonna let those sit there for a little while. I'm gonna close the lid so we can keep our heat in here. They're starting to get nice and toasty. It's been about 3 minutes, and you can see the chiles are roasting really pretty. Look at that. We're gonna throw these into the blender, blend them all up with about a teaspoon of salt. There we go. Now, texture on salsa is whatever your preference is. Some of them I like to get really fine. This one I like to just give it a couple of pulses and get it just right the way I like it. Let's pour this salsa right here, baby. Almost a perfect amount to fill up that bowl. I'm gonna add a little bit more pellets here. For this dish, it's mesquite. Let's open this Rectech 380 up. We've got our plancha reset again, our little griddle here. I'm gonna go ahead and start with our bacon. We want this thing to make a little bit of noise. Just like that. In Spanish, we like to say, Getcha. That basically means we want to hear the sizzle. We're gonna let that cook down a little bit, release a little bit of its delicious oils, and then we're gonna get the other meats on. We're gonna close this up for about 2 minutes, let that cook a little bit. While we were waiting, I had to go inside and get some chips, taste this salsa. I'm telling you guys, this is simple, incredibly delicious. Boom! All right, here we go. Let's check out our bacon here. Oh yeah, that's what we want to hear. You want to spread it out. That's going to help it cook a little bit quicker. I'm sitting at 450. We're going to crank it up to 475. There we go. That meat was a little bit cold. So anytime you put cold meat on your griddle, it's going to cool off a little bit. That's why I'm spreading it out. Now, a lot of cooks that make this particular dish like to cook one meat, take it out, cook the next meat, take it out. You know, and that's okay to do that, but when you have a big old griddle like this, you don't have to. You got plenty of room here. So I'm gonna go ahead and drop our chorizo in here. I'm gonna let that sit up here, start cooking as well. I'm gonna go ahead and season this beef here with a little bit of seasoning. This is my all-purpose rub. You guys use whatever you like. Bacon has a little bit of salt. The chorizo has a little bit of salt. So you don't want to overdo it. It's actually been 3 minutes. That bacon's coming along really nice. It has started to release some of its oils. Woo, woo, good. Our chorizo's looking good. Time to chop it up a little, smash it up. Looking real good here. Bacon is just almost done. I'm spreading it out again a little bit over here on this side. See that? You hear that sizzle? It's hotter over here. So we're gonna put the chorizo over here. Been another couple of minutes. It's time to throw the beef on here. Let's get all this meat on here. We're gonna spread it all out so it cooks a little bit more even and a little bit quicker. Now this meat is delicious. It does need a little bit of cooking oil, so I'm gonna add a little bit of oil on here. We've got a little bit of bacon grease in there, but the beef always needs a little bit more. All right, we're gonna close the lid and let that set for a little while. It's been 2.5, 3 minutes. Look at our meat, it's starting to come along really good. One of the things about beef, it releases a lot of water. And so you gotta kind of leave it open, crank that heat up, and let it ride. We're gonna go ahead and blend our chorizo and our bacon together over here. Let's get these veggies on here. Spread these out so they can start warming up a little bit. And we need to get a little oil on them, so we're gonna bring this bacon over here along with the chorizo. When that beef cooks a little bit more, we're gonna incorporate it all together. We're on the home stretch. The chorizo's cooked, the bacon's cooked, the beef is cooking really good over here too. Look at that meat, starting to get a little color, starting to look really good. Smells amazing, the aroma's awesome, man. Let's open it up. Meat's looking really good. I'd say we're done, friend. It's time to blend it all up, mix it all together. Oh yeah. That meat is done. This looks beautiful, just gorgeous. We're mixing it all up. Just want to make sure it's all incorporated really, really well together. Spread some cheese all the way around here. Now for this dish, you can use as little or as much as you personally like. We like cheese, so I'm gonna lay it down for sure. All the way around, just like that. All right, we're gonna get these tortillas here. Get it done. We're gonna give this about 2 more minutes. Let that cheese melt. I turn down the heat. That griddle's nice and hot. That's one of the cool things about these griddles. When it gets hot, it stays hot. So I've got the heat cranked way down now to about 250. Let me know in the comments below, have you guys ever had tacos de alambre? Did they make it just like this? Did they have other meats or other ingredients? How do you know tacos de alambre? Let's take another look. Ooh, that cheese is melted. That's looking beautiful. Just gorgeous, man. All right, let's see if we can get a cheese pull here. Ooh, look at that. I want to give me a couple of tacos here. We're getting a cheese pull right here. Trying to anyway. Yeehaw, look at that. Yeah, buddy. I'm gonna fill this one up. Didn't quite get as much on the pull, so we're gonna add a little bit more here. Oh man, that's beautiful. Just look at them tacos. They look fantastic. You guys know me, I gotta have some of this salsa. Put me a little bit of this fresh homemade salsa. Gotta have that squeeze of lime. Let's see what it tastes like. Mm. 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 I can't talk. I gotta get another bite. Mm. Guys and gals, I'm telling you, you gotta try these tacos de alambre. They are amazing, super delicious, right up there with the best of the best tacos that you'll ever have. Y'all remember to keep the smoke light and make it work. Boom!